Hey everybody, I'm Mama Baird and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I have another food bank haul for you. This is our local food bank here in Missoula, Montana. I go once a week and it really helps me support my family of 5. How our food bank works is that they have volunteers that go collect expired or past the best by date food that stores would normally throw out. They take it to the food bank and then they put it out for customers to come in and go shopping. Some of our food is purchased by the food bank and others of it is donated by the community. And it's a program that's meant for everybody in the community. You don't have to be homeless or destitute. You can be a single parent. You could be a double working household. You could be a college student. You could be a senior. If you are one of those people and you're struggling with food, please consider going to your local food bank. That is what it is there for. I do have some resources listed below if you need a place to start. Before we get too far in the video though, please make sure to give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Every like, comment, share, it really helps support me and my family. Thank you so much. All right guys, let's get into this haul and I'll show you what I got. All right, we'll start off with the sweets because why not? For our sweet treat, they had some Snickerdoodle box cookies here, and Snickerdoodle are my husband's favorite, so I grabbed one of those. And then they had a little thing of Lily's baking chips, which I hear Lily's is a really good brand, so I was excited to be able to give them a try. And then they had a bunch of leftover gingerbread houses, Christmas stuff. I also got Christmas, I think these are marshmallow toppers. It says marshmallow toppers. I think it's for hot cocoa. You put it on top of it. I think that would be fun. And then they have a kit, which I like this one because it's already pre-made. They just decorate it. I am horrible at the putting together of the gingerbread, so I'm glad that this one is pre-made. And then we got some marshmallow tops for the kids to have some hot cocoa. So that was kind of fun that they hand that stuff out as well. So those are my sweet treats. And then for the produce, for a family of 5, you're allowed 1 full bag of produce. So I got 2 lemons, an avocado, 2 really beautiful sweet peppers, and then they had honeydew. So I counted this as the rest of my bag. 1 big giant honeydew here. The kids will enjoy that. And then they had an extra bin where if they have extra quantity of stuff, then they hand it out. And they had a huge bag of sliced red onions. Like, this has to be 5 pounds of onions, if not more. So that's quite a bit. They're all julienne sliced perfectly, so this will be good to make. I'm thinking about some kind of canning project to preserve all of these onions, so that's on my list to do this week. And then they also had tons of this pre-chopped romaine, so this is really good salad mix, so I was happy to grab one of these to have some salads this week as well. And then they also had extra holiday stuff, so I got some coffee. This is a holiday coffee sampler. It's got fireside rum, holiday eggnog, gingerbread, cinnamon French toast, and chocolate peppermint. I think it's just one little serving size here. That's great for like 1 pot of coffee. Awesome. You know, I love coffee, so I was happy to get that. And then a can of chipotle peppers, which I've seen these a lot there recently. And actually somebody just in my Facebook group asked about these. They had a can of these as well that they got from their food bank. So there's a bunch of ideas there already. If you're not a part of my Facebook group, I will leave it listed below because we do a lot of recipe sharing and it's a good way to get some good ideas if you get an ingredient like this where you don't quite know what to do with it. I do have a couple ideas on what I can do with chipotle peppers though. And then I got a little thing of organic Dijon mustard. They had pears this week, so I grabbed 2 cans of pears. 1 jar of peanut butter. They had some real ketchup sweetened only with honey, so that looked pretty nice. Tomatoes, honey, white wine vinegar, salt, onion powder, and spices. So always nice to get extra ketchup. I got 1 stick of butter. They had some different extracts, and here's a coffee extract. Watkins is a pretty good brand too. I'm pretty satisfied with their quality. So here's a chocolate coffee cupcakes with chocolate buttercream frosting. Wow, that sounds good. That'd be fun to have a coffee episode, huh? Everything featuring coffee. I need to do that. Why haven't I done that yet? Well, now I have the opportunity, right? And then they had this big thing of Cisco Spanish rice. This is definitely something like a restaurant would order. So it's leek and rice on the bottom, so I'm trying to be careful. But it has the ingredients here for how much of this you want to cook, and it has the seasoning in there. So that'll be fun. So maybe I can make a big batch of this and then use it in a couple of different recipes. And then 2 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese. They had separate things of applesauce, so I got 3, 1 for each kid, 2 cinnamon and a regular for their lunches. They had some of these ramens here, so I grabbed one of these. I figured I could just July by 2021, so a little past the Best Buy day, but it's like dried noodles, right? So I'll probably send this to husband with work one day. And then for the dairy, I got a little thing of half and half. This is the Kalispell Creamery. This is my favorite brand. And then every family was allowed 1/2 gallon of 1%. So I grabbed that as well. And now for the meats. Are you ready? So sometimes with the meats, I get big bulk items like a big family size thing of chicken breast or hamburger meat, something that I can cook for the whole family, right? And sometimes family size ones to last for the whole week. Well, these meat options are probably just going to be 1 meal, but I think it's perfect timing. It is a giant ribeye steak and 2 lobster tails. And you know what holiday's coming up? Valentine's Day. And husband's birthday happens to be the day before Valentine's Day. So we usually do some kind of celebration dinner to celebrate his birthday and Valentine's Day in one. My birthday's in March, so we usually just do like one going out to eat. But it would be super fun to make like a surf and turf, right? And do lobster and steak. I haven't handled lobster tails since I worked at Ruby Tuesday like 9 years ago. And this is a beautiful beef loin T-bone steak. $24 for this beautiful steak, but this is over a pound and a half. So this is plenty to feed husband and I, and then we could do something different. He's not much of a lobster guy, so it'll be interesting to see if I can get him to eat the lobster. I might turn it into like lobster mac and cheese. You know, it's like regular mac and cheese, but with lobster in it. So that might be really good. Well, I'm excited. Oh wait, I got a bunch of bread. Let me show you what bread I got too. All right. Now, you know, they always have tons of bread to hand out. So this was counted as one. It has a value pack that probably from Costco. The buttermilk bread. We've been making lots of sandwiches with the kids going to school, so I'm happy to grab that. We got some sourdough cracked wheat. Hamburger buns here. There's some soft wheat bread. Also probably for sandwiches. Plus I'll make French toast every once in a while. They had lots of bagels this week, which I haven't seen bagels in a while, so I was happy to stock up on bagels. Here's blueberry, cinnamon raisin, and blueberry. And then they had sourdough English muffins. And then sourdough English muffins. I might have a thing for sourdough. And then they had a thing of naan bread, which would be fun to either toast and make some hummus or turn these into pizzas. I don't know. What's your idea for these? And it was unlimited bread, so that's what I got. And we went through our stash of bread when I was participating in the no spend challenge. So I'm happy to get more bread for our freezer. And that's what I got for my food bank haul this week. I'm also hoping to get in there and interview some of the other volunteers there and kind of get their perspective on the food bank, what they do there, what they like about it, you know, things like that. So stay tuned to those types of food bank videos as well. Now I'm gonna get this food put up, but don't go away yet, because I think what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to preserve up all of these red onions. Don't go anywhere. Let me get this stuff put up and then we'll get to canning. Good morning, everyone. It is the next day. You know how I always try to do a project and then it gets away from me. So we are going to take care of this bag of onions right now. And what I'm going to make is some sweet onion relish. So let's get that started. You do have to let it cover it in salt and let it sit. Now this recipe calls for 8 cups, which is 2 quarts. Of onions. Let's see how many we have. I mean, I could make a 4 times recipe of it, because 4 quarts here would be 2. Here's another 4. So I think that'd be good, because one recipe only calls for 4 half pints. So this would be a good opportunity to stock up on this, especially since I know I like this. I have made it before. The only thing is that I used white onions. But I think the red onions will be fine. I like red onions. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to cover this in canning salt. My salt has clumped up on me. I think you guys were telling me that putting rice in this would loosen it up. Do you put it in like a... Do you put it in something to put it in here? Because I feel like I can't put rice directly in here, because then that'll get into the salt. Am I overthinking it? So 2 tablespoons per batch. So I'm just going to do a little under a quarter of a cup. And what this does is it draws out some of that extra moisture in those onions. So that way, all the water can get out of it. It won't make your relish watery, you know. And then we're gonna let this sit for an hour just like this. All right. It might be a little less actually, because these are only 3 quarts. So maybe only a 3 times recipe. We shall see. All right. So that's all we do for now, and then I'll bring it back. All right, everybody, over here on the stove, I have vinegar, sugar, and thyme coming up to a boil. And then I have my water bath canner. This is actually my pressure cooker, my pressure canner, but I'm gonna be using it as a water bather. So I have this heating up, and then I have my syrup heating up, and now we're just gonna go over and we're going to give the onions a good rinse and a good strain to get all that extra moisture out, and then we'll add them into our syrup here. All right, guys, these have shrank down quite a bit. There's some water underneath here. So what I'm gonna do is get these strained and rinse these off, and then we'll take them over to our brine. All right, I just used a kitchen towel here to try and get out all of the water. All right, there's the first one. Let me get the other one done just like that. All right, that worked great. Wow, look how pink this cook batch got. I was not anticipating that. Well, it's also because we added the vinegar. I bet the vinegar did that. Alright. Keep letting this bring up to a boil, which it's been doing, so let's set a 10-minute timer. Gonna let this boil and cook for 10 minutes, and then we'll load up our jars. Oh boy. Alright guys, so the onions have been going for 10 minutes. I boiled my jars in the water that I'm planning on water bathing them in, just to make sure that they're nice and sanitized, get any last bits of germs off of them. And then this is a salsa jar that I'm going to reuse as well. If you have jars that have the button tops, then you can reuse them in water bathing. I have not tried it in canning, and that also is not recommended. All right, canning funnel, and then we are going to ladle this in. I'm gonna do mostly onions. I like to use my citrus peeler as my debubbler. So kind of filling it up the top with the onions, and then we'll go around with more brine. I do want to make sure that we have enough of that syrup, which we probably will. I love the color these got, and I have not tried this recipe with red onions, so I'm super excited about this. If you do too much, it just takes them out. Oh, I think this is going to be so good. I love the smell of the thyme in there too. That thyme makes a big difference. Can't you tell me the time? Okay, I'm sorry. I do use a little less thyme though than the recipe calls for, because I feel like dried thyme is super, dang it, I can't talk. Dried thyme is super potent and strong, so I like to use a little less of it than if it were to be fresh thyme. Wow, all right. Apparently the Dr. Pepper does not work as well as the coffee. I'm sure the kids are lucky or glad they are not here, because this whole house smells like onions. Last time I did this, I believe I diced my onions too, so it'll be interesting. 2 different changes, the fact that they're red onions and the fact that they're slices. But hey, we don't judge. We don't discriminate around here. I'm just going to top this off, make sure it's to the 1 inch mark. I'm also going to be debubbling, which means I'm just going to be moving this stuff around, trying to get out as much bubbles as possible. So some of these, I'm going to take a little bit out just to try and make it even. Some of these had a lot of extra onions in there. This turned out to be the perfect amount though. I think this is a good batch to make and have on the shelf. I don't know how often we will have this, but it's good if you get this much, just do it once so you don't have to do it continuously. Alright, so now we're going to get in here, we're going to take our debubbler. Some people use chopsticks, that would work really well. We're just going to get in there and push everything around, especially since it's compacted. Lots of way to get air in there. There we go. You can really tell in this one's making a difference, and it's sinking a little low below the line, but that's okay. Ooh, make my eyes run a little bit. I love that I got this big bag of onions. It was so nice to be able to do this without having to do all the prep of the onions, you know. Don't have to peel them, dice them, slice them, stick them in a jar. All done for me. And then I got a little tiny one here so I can like try this first, or that would be a good one to give as a gift if you know someone who really likes onions. Now, last step is I have my vinegar here. I'm going to put some, like a splash in a paper towel here. And then I'm going to make sure I wipe the rims really well. You don't want any stickiness on there, because that's what's going to prevent you from getting a good seal. So it's really important you take the time and wipe around really good. Especially things you're canning that have sugar and grease, like meats. You want to make sure that you take the time to do this. Alright, for the salsa one, I'm going to use the regular top and just go all the way until you can't turn it anymore. Alright, so we got this lid on as tight as it'll go. And now I'm going to use some new lids that Mama Karen sent me. She likes me to call her Mama Karen. She takes good care of me. So we're going to use these. These are no brand. Well, not, I mean, there's a brand. Sorry brand. Country Classics. But it's like no label on top. And some people don't like using these. But I find that they work pretty well with water bathing. So I don't mind using them. And then we'll see how these do. If maybe you have some that are cheaper. I also will reuse my lids as well. My lids here, if I feel like they aren't damaged. But that also is another thing that's not approved of. So do that at your own risk. But this we're going to go fingertip tight. Alright, let's get this into our water bathroom. Water needs to go 1 inch above the jars. So let's see if I put enough water in there. I think I need a little more. Alright, so I'm going to add 1 quart of water, which is 4 cups. And then we'll wait for this to come back up to a boil because it wasn't quite as hot as the water that was in there. And then once it's to a boil, you will set the timer for 10 minutes and just let it go. Alright guys, these have been sitting in the water for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to pull them out. And then we are going to let these sit on the counter for 24 hours. I'll probably just do it until the morning. It is almost 11 o'clock right now, so I'll probably take care of these in the morning. Oh, we already had one pop and seal. Did you hear that? And then as they cool down, this rubber contracts, and that's what pulls it in to make it seal. So that's why you heat it up, and then as it cools down, that's what seals it. Pressure canning and learning how to preserve your own food, it feels like a superpower. Like you take a bunch of food and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like if you would have gotten that bag of onions, would that have been intimidating to you? Oh, I heard another ping. So knowing how to preserve food makes an abundance of food like that not as intimidating, because you're like, oh, I know how to pickle them. Oh, I know how to water bath them. You know, so don't be afraid to, so if you guys get the opportunities, I'm hearing more, I'm so excited. If you guys get the opportunities to get an abundance of food like that, learn how to preserve it, and you and your family will be very thankful. Well, I'm gonna let these onions probably sit for about 2 weeks to really be able to absorb that brine and that flavor, and then we'll crack one open and we'll give it a try. Thanks for coming along, seeing what I got at my local food bank and how I used it and preserved it to feed my family. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time on Mama Baird's.